Donald Trump has gone totally silent since returning to Washington, D.C. from Las Vegas. This as Iran is putting these screws in. I'll tell you what Iran is doing in just one moment. But Donald Trump arrived in Washington, D.C. late last night. Today he has closed the White House down and he has kicked out the press. His entire schedule is now closed to the press. Late last night, around 1 a.m. in the morning or so, 2 a.m. in the morning, he was seen returning on Marine One. He had that Diet Coke in his hand that he was drinking. He was wearing what appeared to be the new wig. You can see inside Marine One, there was Natalie Harp, who people refer to as his human printer. There was another female assistant in Marine One. There didn't appear to be anyone else, any experts, any specialists, any person who was advising Donald Trump at the highest levels of our government about the catastrophes taking place across the world or here at home. Donald Trump gets off Marine One right there, and you can see Natalie Harp. We got some photos of her. Trump leaves first. Natalie Harp is seen entering the White House with him, and while people refer to her as his human printer, other people refer to her as something else. But that's what Donald Trump was doing. He has not been heard from since then. He has not posted since then, but here was his last post. The U.S. has massive amounts of munitions, especially of certain types. Additionally, large amounts are being manufactured and shipped to the U.S. as needed. Defense companies are building the largest number of plants and factories in our country's histories. The leakers of these treasonous statements are being hunted down. Long-term jail sentences will be sought. DJT. So his last post, he's hunting down the leakers who have told Washington Post, NBC, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and others that the United States has run out of Patriot interceptors and THAAD interceptors and SM-2, SM-6 anti-ballistics that are on the Navy destroyers, that the U.S. has run out of those ATACMS on the HIMARS, that the U.S. is out of military equipment. Just as Donald Trump bankrupted casinos, Donald Trump has bankrupted our Defense Department. But he did give it a new name, folks. The War Department. Donald Trump posted the following also late last night before going silent. So beautiful, DC is better than ever. Tender, loving care. That from a sexual predator in Donald Trump. Let's talk about what's happening in Iran right now. First, let's talk about what's happening in the Iranian parliament. So as you know, Iran is very close to doing a deal with Oman that the United States has no involvement in whatsoever. Because Donald Trump is incapable of doing deals, he's never been a deal maker his entire life. He's always been a destroyer. He rips deals apart and he causes more problems and goes bankrupt. I guess what he's trying to do now is take credit for the Iran and Oman deal, where Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and can charge a toll. It has nothing to do with denuclearization. Don't be fooled by any of the corporate news who are trying to claim that the U.S. is involved. The U.S. has zero involvement in this. They just are trying to take credit for something to give Trump a little bit of a face-saving exercise here. Now, according to Iranian state-owned FARS, Iran's parliament is considering a hardline bill to formalize control over the Strait of Hormuz. The plan would prohibit the passage of vessels belonging to the U.S., Israel, and other hostile nations, ban all military and non-military cargoes bound for or associated with Israel or implicated in actions against the axis of resistance. The axis of resistance is Iran, the Houthis, Hezbollah, militias in Iraq and some other groups in Somalia and in that area, deny transit through the Strait of Hormuz and Persian Gulf to any countries or individuals that have caused damage to Iran until full financial compensation is paid, impose financial penalties on violators, including fines of up to 20% of the total cargo value, and mandate that the Iranian government, alongside its armed forces, assume direct responsibility for navigational guidance, monitoring vessel traffic, traffic and overseeing regional, maritime, and environmental security. Now, before Donald Trump left from Las Vegas, he was wearing what appeared to be a new wig. I mean, he looked very interesting with that new hair thing that he had going on there. And here is what he told the press about Iran. Let's play this clip.
Seems to be working out quite well.
What makes you think this will be different? Because they tend to never...
It may be, it may not be. I think that the threat of this, this was more than a threat. We were ready to go. And, you know, in life, they know when you're ready to go and when you're just bluffing. No, we were ready to go, and we are ready to go. We have to do that.
Right. And then he also said that, it's really top of his mind, men and women's sports, and somehow Democrats, communists. I don't even know what he's even saying here. But this is what he said. And again, the wig. What are you doing there, man? There's so many big issues taking place in the world right now, and so many things affecting the American people who are suffering, especially because of all of your lies and all of your fraud. And you said you were going to really help out and make things affordable. And now you say affordability is a scam word. And this is the type of stuff that he's been saying. Here, let's play this other clip of him when he did an interview after that deranged speech. Let's play it.
Over all of the things, including men and women's sports, transgender surgery for everyone, they will overturn it if they get in. We can't let that happen.
So now, folks, reports are emerging of a significant Houthi assault on the Saudi-backed Yemen Emergency Forces encampment near Marib. The strike hit camps of the Saudi government forces. Marib is the internationally recognized Yemeni government's last major stronghold in northern Yemen and is home to critical oil and gas infrastructure. Saudi Arabia has supported government forces there for years to prevent the Houthis from consolidating their control over northern Yemen. Houthis control most of Yemen right now, and the western Yemen area, the capital being Sana'a. This is the area close to the Red Sea, the Bab el-Mandab Strait. And so the Houthis basically have the so-called international recognized entity, which is really the Saudi proxies in Yemen. They're kind of there in the north in a smaller area. And so now the Houthis are emboldened because they saw Iran defeat the United States. They know that the U.S. is out of weapons. So if the U.S. is out of weapons, Saudi Arabia is out of weapons. And here are the scenes right now. I'll show you. There have been at least 30 government troops, Saudi-backed troops that have been killed. This is some of the aftermath of what we are seeing from the attack. Let's play it. Now, here's the actual footage of the Houthi missile attack on the Yemeni government military camps in Marab and Hadramaut provinces that killed, probably the number will be more like 50 or 60 of the Saudi government troops that are there right there. And Iran and its allies are making the U.S. and its allies pay right now in a big way. Here, let's play this clip.
After checking how much I spent eating out last month, I was honestly shocked. So switching to Home Chef, that's been a real game changer for me. Home Chef makes cooking simple. Fresh food delivered, easy recipes to follow, and meals that actually taste great. Take the stress out of your week with convenient weekly deliveries that keep your fridge stocked and eliminate meal planning and grocery runs. No long shopping lists, no complicated prep, and best of all, easy cleanup. It's perfect for busy schedules, whether you need a 30-minute meal or an oven-ready tray or even a quick microwave lunch. Home Chef has you covered. And it's not one size fits all. Home Chef has over 30 meal options each week with choices for different tastes and dietary needs, including calorie conscious and even GLP-1 friendly meals. And here's something pretty cool. Home Chef's GLP-1 friendly meals also make it easy with pre-portioned ingredients and dietitian approved nutritional guidelines. And people really love it. Home Chef is rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. Customers say they spend less time planning, shopping, and prepping meals. Plus, it's affordable. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/Meidas. That's homechef.com/Meidas for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. homechef.com/Meidas. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
Now, with all of this going on as well, the U.S. has never been weaker abroad. So the Pentagon's number 2, this guy Elbridge Colby, he's the Undersecretary of Defense. His whole life was like, we hate China, decouple from China, we're going to show China, right? And then Trump gets into office. What are the first thing they try to do? They try to launch the trade war against China. China immediately holds back rare earths. The U.S. markets tank. Trump becomes an obedient little Xi Jinping bootlicker that he is. And so Elbridge Colby has been begging for a meeting with China. He really wants to go to China now because China has checkmated the United States. And right now, China has declined to invite him. And apparently he keeps on begging. So the guy whose whole life was, I'm going to stand up and be strong to China, is begging to be invited to China. And China's like, dude, we don't want you here. Okay. We know what you've done. We know your life. We don't want you here. Okay. Get the hell out of here. That's what's going on there. What about Russia, Ukraine? Trump promised he'd end the war in 24 hours. He's a liar. Russia has now destroyed over 400,000 square meters of Ukrainian warehouses and logistic complexes since the start of July 2026 alone. What happened then? Ukraine is out of Patriot interceptors. What else happened in July? Donald Trump, Putin speak on July 4th for 90 minutes, right? There's really no readout of what took place or an accurate one of what took place. I was saying at the time, clearly what they're saying is deprive Zelensky of the Patriot interceptors and Donald get more information from Zelensky about their weaknesses in Ukraine and help Putin out. That's my opinion. You can disagree with the opinion, but I'll tell you what happens next in the timeline. A week and a half, 2 weeks later, NATO summit, Donald Trump in front of the world tells Zelensky, we're going to get you the Patriot interceptor licenses. It's not ambiguous. Trump said, we're going to get it for you. And he said it in just a really awful way, too. He was like, this way you can stop complaining that we're not giving you the Patriot interceptors. The U.S. promised Zelensky Patriot interceptors, which are just interceptors to stop the ballistic missiles. And it's the only thing that can stop the ballistics. Ukraine can stop the drones, the cruise missiles. They can't stop the ballistics without the interceptors. As you now know as well, the U.S. also is out of its own interceptors. And also, I don't believe Donald Trump wants to help Zelensky. So Trump tapped Zelensky along for weeks, only for Donald Trump to say at the end of July, we're not going to be giving you the license. We've decided against it. At the most vulnerable moment for Zelensky, and as Russia was ramping up for this, and then Russia just started launching these salvos. They've been doing it for a while, but now they really ramped it up. They stopped with the Shahid drones. They really, not stopped, but they slowed it down. They slowed down the cruise missiles because they know Ukraine can't stop the ballistics. So right now, Russia just launches salvo after salvo, 20, 30 at a time of these ballistics. Ukraine has a 0% interception rate. They all hit the warehouses. It is a dire time in Ukraine. Even though there are all of these videos of Zelensky striking hard in Russia, Zelensky doesn't have the interceptors, and Putin knows that right now. Let me kind of leave you with these two things. When Donald Trump was at Vegas, one of the things he wanted to emphasize again is that nobody has ever heard of the fact that the word dumb has a B in it. I think Jim Stewartson was onto something here when he said this. He goes, every time he does this or something like this, let me explain. He had the brain fart Democrats, but when he told someone about it, they said dumb has a B. This caused a narcissistic injury that he fixed by creating an alternative reality in which nobody knows the way dumb was ever spelled. Now he expects us all to live in it. That's the point I want to make here. He wants to bend reality to this sick dystopian thing. And then he wants us all to live in that. And he's got the MAGA Republicans living in that. Now, it's hard to get out of that. We're seeing a lot of MAGAs get out of it. But the MAGA Republicans, whether it's MAGA Mike, all these people, they live in that demented dystopian world. And that's what authoritarians do. And they flood the zone with it. Remember what happened in California when there were the wildfires, and he said, oh, it's because Newsom was protecting the smelt and you didn't turn the faucet on in Canada. Somehow Canada borders California, according to Trump, and you have to turn the faucet on and then the water would drip and it would turn on the fire. And everyone's like, that's the craziest thing. That's so crazy. But he says it over and over and over again, and he makes the cult bend to that reality. And it is dangerous, demented, and the cult bends to his realities. It's important that you understand his tactics. By the way, in WTF America, the book I wrote with my brothers, it comes out in October. Pre-order it right now. The publisher says it's really important to get the momentum with these pre-orders. So I think there's a link in the description below to get the pre-order. Also, there's a QR code here, but please pre-order it and put in the comments if you pre-ordered it. We talk about these tactics, bending reality, and we want to talk about the bigger issues to get us out of this hell. But here's what he says. Let's play this clip.
Dumb person, D-U-M, not the B. He's a dumb person. It's enough. Most people don't know it has a B. He's a dumb person. I said, doctor, I don't mind being called a brilliant, total tyrant dictator, but I don't want to be called dumb. What do I do, doctor? Is there some kind of a test I can take? He said, actually.
Right. And then, you see over here, while Trump's doing that nearby, Nevada and Arizona's food stamp crisis is coming for the rest of the U.S. Arizona is the place in the country that's had the largest reduction in food stamps since the passage of the Big Beautiful Bill, which I refer to as the disastrous bill. 450,000 people have lost nutrition aid in Arizona. By the way, while our debt under Donald Trump increases to $40 trillion. And he's taken that money and he's put it to building out Trump battleships because he likes the way that World War I and World War II battleships look like, which are now sitting ducks, like sitting ducks in the poisonous reflecting pool from unmanned submersive and drones. I mean, it's a real sick thing. 100,000 children were removed from nutrition aid because Trump says they're involved in fraud. The children, 100,000 children in Arizona alone, taken off of nutrition aid because the Trump regime accuses the children of fraud while he goes and takes your money and engages in real fraud. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Before you go, our book, WTF America, is available for pre-order now. It's the story of how we got here and how we fight our way back. To pre-order, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's do this.